Beata, Anita, you know I am a righteous fan, and of my virtue signaling I am justly proud. Beata, Anita, you know I'm so much purer than the common, vulgar, weak gamer crowd. Oh, excuse me. Yeah, you caught me praying to a false god. Anyway, apologies. On to the video. Hello everybody, it's Gene from NYC again, and I'm back with another video. I hope you enjoyed that little intro. I enjoyed making it, although I'm not the world's best singer. I was just feeling a bit playful, so I thought I would get my singing and acting chops in just a tad. So anyway, on to the video as I said earlier. So this video is actually a bit spur of the moment. I was actually watching a Heel versus Babyface video, which I think it's a great channel. If you haven't checked it out, please check it out. I'll put a link to the channel in the description. I mean, with a name like Heel versus Babyface, I mean, how can I not like the channel? But anyway, the host, or the, I guess, content creator of Heel versus Babyface, a man named Az, which is fine by me. He did a video that I was watching where he takes apart Anita's Wired article. She wrote an article for Wired.com talking about what, in her opinion, is the lack of female, or rather I should say exclusively female, representation in video games, and how this is an issue. Now, I was not in the mood to really tear apart the article itself. I think Az did a great video on that. I think he did a great job of just breaking down and refuting everything she claimed in the video. The reason I'm making this video is because I checked out the Wired article myself, and what I noticed about the statistics in the article, which, to be fair, I don't entirely trust. I mean, this is data that Anita herself admits that Feminist Frequency, which is essentially her project, right, collected. So I trust that info about as far as I can throw it. But it's the only info provided, so it's the only info according to the article that we can look at. But what's interesting is that there's several graphs, and one of the graphs, or actually almost all of the graphs, show several years of information from like 2015, which of course was I don't know if it was the height of Gamergate, but Gamergate was still a very big thing. Anita was still a very big thing at the time, and the data that she shows notes how many, or rather the percentages of games that had female protagonists, games that had male protagonists, and games that had multiple protagonists or options, right? Take, for example, a game like Mass Effect, where you could choose to play as either a male Shepard or a female Shepard, or fighting games, right, where you have numerous male and female characters and aliens and robots and kangaroos. If you're familiar with the Tekken series, you know what I'm talking about. So what I noticed in this data, in these graphs, is that close to, if not slightly over, let me dial it back a second. Each year showed that around 50% of video games, I'm guessing whatever data that Anita and Feminist Frequency tallied, around 50%, sometimes a little under, sometimes a little over, but always around 50% of these games had multiple options, right? Had different players that you could choose from. They weren't games, at least according to the data that I saw. They were not games that had a single protagonist. You think of games like, say, Tomb Raider, right? Where the only protag is Lara Croft, or a game like Metal Gear Solid, where the protagonist is Solid Snake, who was a man. So if any bit of the data is true, that means that for the past, 4 or 5 years now at this point, around half of video games, at least half of video games that debut at E3, the Electronic Entertainment Expo. It's been years since I've had to remember that acronym, so forgive me. But if any of that data is true, that means that half of the games featured, going by each year, at E3 feature multiple characters that you can play as, multiple protagonists, as it were. And yet somehow this is bothersome to Saint Anita, Beata Anita. This is somehow distasteful to her. First of all, as I said in the last video or videos, there's no way to make someone like her happy. She'll never be happy until she rules all of gaming. And even then I don't think she would be happy. Because it's one of those things where it's like you destroy your enemy, and then it's like, okay, well, I've achieved victory. What do I do now? But anyhow, this isn't really about that. This isn't really about the article. This is more about, and I wanted to make this a positive video, this is more about one of the most unique, and in my personal opinion, in my personal experience, truly powerful elements of video games, which is the power of choice. That's why the title of the video is called Player Select. And I put up a character select screen from Super Street Fighter 2. Right? The name of the video is Player Select, the power of choice in video games. And I just wanted to, in my own way, celebrate the power and beauty of choice in video games, and being able to choose who you play as, and being able to choose what your settings are, being able to choose what your difficulty is, so on and so on and so forth. Video games are one of the few mediums that are not entirely passive. Many artistic mediums are passive, right? Reading is passive. Listening to music is passive. Watching TV is passive. And when I say passive, what I mean is that you have no impact on what's going on, right? You react and you respond to what you see or what you hear or what you read, but you have no say in it. You can't affect the outcome, right? If a character dies in a book or in a TV show, they're going to die. That's it in most cases. You cannot take control of that character, as it were, and prevent their death. But in video games, you can, to an extent. Video games are unique in that they allow you to a certain extent, take control of the situation. You can choose your character, you can choose your settings, and because you're able to literally control the character that you're playing as, you have a say in whether that character lives, dies, loses, fails, makes it to the next level, makes it to the end of the game, so on and so on and so forth. That is something that is so unique to gaming, that you actually have some agency, some autonomy, some impact on the work itself, that you can, in a sense, change what happens. And the reason I say in a sense is because, not all, but most video games, have set events and a set storyline, and endings and whatnot. So, for example, in a video game, if your protagonist is meant to die, right, then they're going to die at the end of the game. But at the very least, while you have control, while you have say in the video game, right, you can keep the character alive, basically, right? They won't die until it's their time, is what I'm trying to say. And that's the beauty of video games, and being able to customize your experience to a certain degree. And of course, many video game genres feature this, some more than others. For example, fighting games, beat 'em ups, they've always had multiple characters that you can choose from. Many RPGs have them, games like, World of Warcraft, even some Final Fantasy games feature multiple protagonists. So many different genres feature different protags you can play as. Action RPGs, for example, Mass Effect. They all give you an option to choose who you want to play as, to customize to an extent your experience, to truly make it your own, to make it your game. So I am actually quite happy when I read this data, as skewed as it no doubt is. It makes me quite happy to read this data and to see that half of games at E3 have multiple options for protagonists, because multiple options means that you can better customize your experience. You can set the game at the difficulty you want. You can play as the character you want. Imagine if you were playing, say, Street Fighter or whatever, and the only character you could play is Ryu. It wouldn't be a bad game by any means, but it wouldn't be nearly as fun as it is. Part of the fun of playing a fighting game, especially one that has a robust cast, as many established games do because the cast grows with each entry, is that you get to play as these different characters with these different move sets and they feel differently. Like, a character like, say, Vega, moves so smooth and so quick. And then you have a character like, say, Zangief, who's big and he's lumbering and blah, blah, blah. Right? It's like walking in quicksand trying to move him. Right? That's something I have always appreciated about video games, is that even in something as simple as, making the heavy character feel heavy and making the light character feel light with the way that they move, it truly gives you a unique experience each game. Because especially if you play fighting games, for example, each outing is a bit different. Because just because you won the last fight doesn't mean that you'll win now, right? If you change the difficulty, whether you make it more difficult or less, that's going to change your experience too. So I've always really enjoyed the fact that there are multiple options, whether it be for difficulty or certain settings or protagonist in video games, and I hope it's a trend that will continue. Having multiple options is what made Street Fighter so fun for me as a kid, right? Having difficulty levels that I could set to my choosing is what made games like Streets of Rage and what made games like Street Fighter more fun. Because if I didn't want a challenge, I could just put it to 1 star or easiest. Or if I did want a challenge, I could set it to medium or to the highest difficulty level, or if you knew the code, had to go even beyond that. And a lot of that comes from arcade culture back in the day, since so many fighting games and so many beat 'em ups and whatnot were originally coin-op machines before they were adapted to home video game systems. So, especially now that I'm older, I really appreciate the autonomy that video games have often provided to their players, to their consumers, not always locking you in to having one option. At times it's fun, right? They're playing games like Metroid, Tomb Raider, Metal Gear Solid, and many others, where you just take control of one protagonist and you're just playing through their story. For games where that works, that's fine. But having just one protag doesn't work in a beat 'em up or fighting game or lots of different RPGs or sports titles, or just various different things. So I just wanted to express my love for difficulty. Not really difficulty, let's take that back. My love for options and my love for player select screens and my love of choice. And I can hope that gaming continues in its many ways to give the power to the player, as the tagline used to say. and keep giving players autonomy and choice and agency to have the experience that they want. Don't listen to the saints. Don't listen to the virtue signalers who don't know what they're talking about. Go with whatever option works best for that particular video game. And please, game studios, continue to give players what they want. Don't give the press what they want. Don't give the mainstream what they want. Certainly don't give the outraged crowd what they want. Give the gamers what they want. Put the power back into the hands of the gamers. It's the gamers who were there in 1992. It's the gamers who are there now. It's that audience that you have to worry about and please and cater to. Not anybody outside of it, and certainly not anybody who just causes divisions needlessly in the gaming community with their very presence. It was options that made games, even some games, playable for me. Like, for example, playing on easy and Street Fighter made it playable for me when I was a kid because I was terrible at it. It took me a long time to become even decent. I probably didn't really become decent until probably my mid-teenage years, and I've been playing Street Fighter since I was 7. But having difficulty options made the game accessible for me. It didn't freeze me out because of my lack of skill as a child. Being able to set the blood on and off in the Mortal Kombat games, all in the original series, made the series playable for me because it allowed me to set the gore to a level I was comfortable with. Because again, when I was a kid, and to a certain extent even now, but especially when I was younger, I scared easily. And what for the time would have been, gruesome graphics didn't sit well with me. It would make me physically ill and would scare me to see the fatalities. Of course, as I got older, right, what used to scare me in Trilogy made me laugh when I was, several years older. But, you can't wait. When you're 9 years old, you aren't going to wait until you're 17 or 18 to play the game. You want to play it now. And having the option, having the autonomy, the choice to go into the options menu in Mortal Kombat 3 and turn the blood off allowed me to play the game. I never would have been able to play Mortal Kombat back then if I didn't have the option to turn the blood off. So, in closing with this way too long video, gamers, gaming studios, I beg of you, I plead with you, please continue to give gamers options. Continue to give gamers choice. Continue to give gamers multiple protagonists. Allow them to choose to play as a man or a woman or an alien or a robot or whatever it is that fits your game. Don't kneel to the saints. Don't kneel to the virtue signalers. Appeal to your player base. Anyway, this is Gene from NYC, and I will see you around in the next one. Good night.